So I'm missing many, many, many years of schooling. But that's illegal. So it's not really my father's and mother's fault if they were lied to, right? Now, when I was a child, nobody tells me anything. And nobody wants the child telling their parents anything. But now that I'm an adult, what do I think really happened? Well, there was printouts, and there was a teacher getting paid, and she was for the first 3 months coming up the mountain, go into a small room and take classes. And at the end, my father and mother had a stack of paperwork, and we did see her around. So what the hell is going on? Hmm. Well, they also paid somebody to do a special one-time computer lesson or catch up on reading lesson. We also had 1 hour of reading, just pick a book, sit down, a day. And we had lots of staff members, but one staff member in particular trying to come up with extracurricular type stuff. That would be taking rock hammers to stop, all the way to playing Monopoly. There was paperwork, but there wasn't. Like, we went to another building one time, right? Where they had a computer. We weren't allowed in this other building often. But they had some computer in there, and it was kind of like a school. Now, we weren't allowed to go to this building often, but they had us build a model of some Indian hut. Yes, a model of an Indian hut. It was kind of cool looking, too. So I did get to build a model of an Indian hut, and they did read us a little bit about Indians. So there was extracurricular activity, but the original teacher where we actually took classes, that went away. You could never pass a single class with what I was getting in this program, but that's because it was a scam. They hadn't built the place yet. It wasn't proper yet. They didn't have it staffed. They didn't have the pool. They were missing two buildings, and they weren't allowing parents to inspect. My father wasn't allowed to know what was going on there. He was only allowed to see me 1 hour a month for 18 months, and I wasn't allowed to be present when they were feeding my father garbage. Do you think they brought us and told him all about the field, how we play in it, all that? Do you think that who do you think that the program would punish if I said the wrong thing? There's a lot of crazy shit like that going on. And people run to conclusions. They don't understand the other view because they're not there. They don't see it with their own eyeballs. You gotta watch, you gotta hear and see everybody else's face when the 8 year old's being held down naked in the shower by a big black man. You gotta see the bruises on your son's shoulder. You gotta see these things for yourself, and then it really does something. But you can easily tell by your son's crying and begging for help. I mean, at the age of 7 years old, I was begging and crying about my stolen swimming medal. I've told him the truth about lots of stuff. But when people make up fantasies, there's nothing. Like, for instance, here's another one. I sucked on some whipped cream while playing video games. But apparently, I am a thief and a drug addict and a liar. Why? Why? Why does that make me that? Oh, because the can is all slushy now. Huh? So what? I sucked on you. Want me to buy you another can? I'll buy you another can. I'll buy you 5 cans. Sorry I ruined your can. I didn't know I couldn't. I didn't want to block my view of the screen. So what? But there's no arguing with these people. You know the best way to really deal with these people? Oh, whatever you say, whatever you say, whatever you say. You might say walk away, but the problem is these people like to control everything. They want to follow you around the house. They don't want you living your life as a good person. No, no, no. They want to control every aspect of your life. And then if they can't, then they just want you to die in a hole. They don't want to do any work that's based upon what their son is saying. I asked for many things. I asked not to go to New Mexico. I asked for an education. I asked to handle this doctor issue of my neurological disorder. And that doesn't stop the fact that my father and mother were told all about I was having physical health issues and that there was a lot of concern in this, and they downplayed this. My mother was trying to downplay it to a ballet level. Meanwhile, doctors were worried about it being an overdose level. And lying and manipulating doesn't make you right. If you're going to lie about your son, believe in fantasies, put it on your son, and then try to be like, well, we don't have to help you because you're a liar. I've seen no proof that I've lied. And honestly, the amount of lies that I've heard so far are unbelievable. They've cost me over 12 grand and all the skills I needed to survive because they wanted to lie through their teeth again and again. And when I'm age 19, you don't get to lie and take my money and get me in trouble and then have me committing crimes on paper. Plus, my father's and mother's decisions did damage to my body. I have every right to go to a doctor during childhood. You know why I have every right? Because if a child has an overdose and isn't allowed to see a doctor and then has that covered up, they never get the help they need, especially if the mother is creating mental illness fantasies. And I don't want to hear bullshit from anybody because everybody came up to talking about this. I had teachers, my brother, my nephew, and I'm not taking any fucking bullshit. They either can put two bullets in my head or I'm fucking dealing with this, one way or another, till I take my last breath. I'm not playing any fucking games. Just because you fool me once, just because you fool me twice, just because you fool me, 100 times, doesn't change the facts that were in front of us. Just because I didn't put it all together in an order, just because it was just one thing after another, and I was moved around, and everything was a big mess and so confusing, and I was on so many drugs and so much brainwashing shit. I'm worried about my swimming medal and not the overdose. The doctor, I talk about this overdose at the doctors. They're all concerned, but I don't know what it means. And my mother gave an answer. All I know is she's stealing my swimming medal and throwing some golden Charizard ball thingy in the trash can. First telling me that's because she's jealous of it, and then literally later she says it's because I didn't clean my room. So it's just total mindfuck stuff. And I stayed on the medication because I was so brainwashed. I was told over and over that something bad might happen to me if I didn't take this medicine. Over and over and over. Yet, I felt better when I wasn't taking it, but yet, some of the meds I felt worse. Some of the meds I felt better too. What the hell's going on here? It wasn't until I became an adult that I was able to figure that out. The main reason is I wasn't allowed to figure this out. If I wanted to see a neurologist for an overdose at age 7, my mother would have refused on the bat, lied, and then tried to make me out to be so many things. I made mistakes. I was no more a liar than any other child I saw in my family. Actually, I was so honest I wasn't willing to hide my mistakes. I literally left my mistakes wide open. Meanwhile, my father would do horrible things with my mother, and he would be blind to it. Now, the worst part about it is my father, though, he didn't do a lot of this on purpose. He didn't even know what was going on. He can easily say he was lied to. But there are things he knows are true, and yet he doesn't want to admit to it because he doesn't want to deal with it. That's a whole nother issue. And crashing my Social Security and not allowing your son to get medical care when he needs it in New Mexico and Maine after doctors have told you several times that stuff is going on with his physical health. That's a big problem. Ballet is not a substitute for a neurological disorder. And we would have known that a lot sooner if they weren't trying to literally hide their mistakes. My father was just being lied to. Keep that in mind. I know that for a fact. During my overdose, as I get information, and this, oh my God, I got information later too that was terrible. Like my mother said that she thought this was fine to do, to give a child extra medication. Anyways, right in front of witnesses. You know what the type of stuff you get because of this is horrific. The stuff I saw on the streets, I mean, if you stole $30 from somebody, you might get shot on the streets, but you cripple their child or you poison somebody else for kicks or to cover up a mistake you did, oh my God. I don't even want to know what that person would do. Now, me, I was known as the forgiveness kid, the love, joy, the monk. I'm always trying to give love as other people harm me. It's very difficult for me, actually. I try to, just use honesty, truth, love, generosity, forgiveness, those concepts. And then the other person will use concepts like lying, fantasies, assumption, running away from problems, trying not to take responsibility for actions. Like for me, to get this fixed, I need to take responsibility to the fact I should have been going to the doctor at age 7 for this. I'm going to have to go to the doctor for the rest of my life, and I need to take it into account for the rest of my life. And I got to be responsible for driving. I can't drive until this is fixed. That's a responsible thing to do, and I can't fix this as long as my father continues to lie and go along with a fantasy that literally his wife's fantasy. And everybody, don't let anything fool you. This was obvious to the family. It's not like they weren't speaking up about her craziness. They didn't know she was drugging me, I don't think, but they knew there was massive amounts of pills involved, and they knew my mother was unstable. So this is no surprise. And if they try to pretend it is, oh, that's just dangerous. That's just wicked dangerous.